What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for making your way to watch this video. I appreciate it so much. In case you may be new here, my name is Lauren. I love our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the health and fitness lifestyle, and documenting my journey of being an NPC bikini competitor here on YouTube. That's what I usually post on here. And in this video, I am going over post-show reflection for just a little recap once again if I have anyone that's new here. I am still a pretty new competitor. I had my first show in August of 2022 and I got nationally qualified, so then I went ahead into nationals, of course did a good old building phase to prepare myself for that, and did my first national, second show overall, just last year 2023 in July, and then I gave nationals another shot, so second national show, my third show in December of just last year of 2023, and that is the show that I am reflecting off of today. But yeah, I believe in my show day video I stated that the day didn't really go as planned. I did not get to record and vlog nearly as much as I wanted to, like I feel like I have in my previous show day vlogs. So I am going to be adding in those missing bits and pieces that I did not get to show on my show day vlog, and then we're gonna go all into the whole reflection deal. But if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to my channel. If you would like to stick along this journey of mine with me, be sure to give this video a like if you enjoy watching it, and if you got any comments, any questions, anything like that, be sure to comment them down below. And yeah. Okay, so how show day went. I woke up, I feel like decent time. I've always had my appointments for like hair, makeup, anything like that. I've always had them scheduled like at a decent time in the morning where I don't have to wake up super early. So I probably woke up, I want to say about an hour and a half before my appointments were scheduled, I'm pretty sure. And I woke up to my dad and my boyfriend waking up and, getting together to go downstairs and get me some pancakes. So I was already kind of waking up from that. And then, of course, a little bit later, they come back up with the pancakes and, we're just chatting it up. I'm enjoying breakfast. I know I had that in my vlog. And then after that, I don't know what happened. I guess just we kind of lost track of time, or like time just flew by. I should have waken up earlier because by the time I finished eating my pancakes, we realized, oh my gosh, I still need to put on my last layer of tan because this was my first time doing the do-it-yourself pro tan. Oh my gosh, we still need to do your last layer of tan, wait for that to dry, and then you need to go to your hair and makeup appointment. So it was just immediate, just crunch time. I had to rush to get ready to get to my appointment on time, which I did end up being a little late, but it all worked out, so it was okay. But with that being said, I love to do those cute little before and after clips, before and after getting all glammed up and ready. That's the first thing going through my brain is like, I'm gonna have no time to record my before clips. And my last show that I had done before this one I'm talking about, my first national show, I did before and after clips with my camera, because my first show I just did with my phone. I did it with my camera and I loved how they came out, and I was so excited to do it for this show because I was obviously coming to the show with the intentions of having a completely different package. And yeah, no time for the camera, unfortunately. I just rushed to get ready, and my dad rushed downstairs to get the car and like things packed and everything, or something like that, I'm pretty sure. And I just sat up my phone real quick, recorded like probably a clip or two, and I booked it out. But yeah, I was texting my makeup lady because that's what I had scheduled first. I was like, I am so sorry, blah, blah, blah. But it worked out smoothly. She was already still working on a girl, and, I just had to wait around a bit. But all worked out smoothly, of course. Everything was good. But after I got all dolled up and done, then we heard that Bikini was about to start going up. So then I just went straight to the stage area, and I was hanging out in like the seating area with my fam before I went backstage, and was still like having some carbs and all that kind of stuff. And then I go backstage, and as I'm hanging out, I'm talking to some girls, making some new friends, and then I got a text. I think it was just asking, hey, do you still want another snack, blah 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 blah, something like that, because I was hanging out a little longer backstage than I was expecting. And then I realized I did not have my jewelry. I didn't have my rings, bracelet, or earrings on, and Bikini was already started, so it's kind of like, oh my gosh, it's countdown of when I'm going to be going on stage. So my poor dad books it back to the hotel, because we were staying at a different place than where the show was at, gets my jewelry, brings it back to me, and thankfully, it was still a little bit of time before we were called up to, line up and everything. So that worked out okay. And then I almost totally forgot to say this. It just now popped in my head. But I want to say this was before the earring situation, I think. So, you know, us girls, we need to use something to help us go to the bathroom so we don't get pee or anything to ruin our tan. I bought myself a plastic little utensil thing before my first national show and have been using that since. So I had to pee, you know, nervous pee, that was building up. So then I went to go pee. I'm using it and I just feel stuff going down my leg. How did the plastic thing just not work for me at that time? I still have yet to understand like how that went wrong. But yeah, pee went down my leg and messed with my tan. And I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, show day, there was just lots of little things going on, just not going to plan. And I was like, what the heck? But yeah, Pro Tan was at that show too. So, but they totally helped me. On stage, you could not even tell that my tan was messed with or anything like that, you know. So everything worked out in that as well. But yeah, so those were the little issues that I was dealing with before stepping on stage. So now coming up to when we are called up to line up and, you know, everyone's pumping up and just waiting to go on stage, I've never really warmed up my lower body. It's always just been upper body pumps before I go on stage, but this show I wanted to do a little bit with my lower body. So with my band, I was doing RDLs and stuff like that. And I remember when I was like coming back up in the RDL movement, my legs were feeling shaky, but I didn't feel nervous or anything. So I was just like, oh, why am I shaking? So we go on stage and first we do comparisons. Every single time I have stepped on the stage, I always, I guess you could use the term tremble, just kind of shake a little bit when we flip to the back pose and then it's time to go back to the front because I do a little twirl back to the front. That first little twirl, I always tremble, and then after that I don't. But it's always that first one, shake a bit. So that happened, and in my head, at first I'm like, I'm not gonna get my pro card. This isn't my day, you know, like, or just not even with my pro card, but just placing good. I just thought, dang, I just trembled. They saw that. I'm not gonna do good today. So that is when the mental battle really started. You know, my brain was already attacking me with being so hard on myself, and I was just like, dude, let's not, like, we can't do this right now. But yeah, so the rest of comparisons went good. Didn't feel very shaky or anything like that at all much. We go off the stage, and it's like a metal little staircase type of deal we were going down. I slip and fall face forward, catching myself on the ground on my hands and knees. And I was like in the middle of the line, so there were some girls in front of me, some girls behind me, and you know, there's guys that are on the side of the staircase, kind of like guiding us, whatever. So I had my surroundings of like, oh my gosh, are you okay? There's a tent right there off of the staircase in front of us for like emergency aid, you know, stuff like that. That guy just books it over to me, are you okay? Oh my gosh, blah, 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 just totally checking in on me, seeing if I'm okay. And at this point, my legs shaking so bad with adrenaline because I just fell, and thankfully it was like right after I passed the curtain, so I don't think it was seen. It shouldn't have been seen. So it was good. At least that was the good part, I guess. But yeah, I was just telling the guy, oh, thank you so much. No, I'm okay, but I don't even feel shaky. I don't know how I just fell. And the guys by the stairs said, oh, that's actually happened to a few girls already. Like, that's great. And I actually can't remember if I noticed or, you know, the guy at the aid little tent thing pointed out to me, but I looked down and my shin was completely scratched up and bleeding. And then I'm like, so when the guy's asking me if I'm okay and I noticed that, I'm like, no, I don't feel anything, but I don't know what to do. Is this gonna mess with my package? I don't want this to ruin like how my overall package on the stage. So then that was happening. I was like, oh my gosh. And then we're realizing, you know, like it might mess up my tan. We can't really put anything on it to fix it. So I can't remember, like it looked like a pretty deep cut that I got. So it wasn't like really dripping down my leg, but it was just patched like on my leg like that. So, you know, we all settle with, I'm good. I need to go back around the other side of the stage to now go up to do my routine. From this moment here on out, I am just me and God. I am like, Lord, aside of what has happened today, my legs shaky, me just falling down the stairs, Lord, I give this all to you. Please help me to go on that stage and present my package the best I possibly can. I give it all to you. Help me to do my best and glorify you on that stage. So I do my routine and no shakies. I did not feel shaky at all. It did feel weird though when I first settled into my pose because it was carpet and it was coming from the right side. So I wanted to kind of twirl, but the feel of the carpet and my first time like really experiencing like the texture of that flooring and everything like that, yeah, I didn't really like how I settled into my pose. I would have liked to have been like, kind of twirled, but I felt like it just looked kind of just, I don't want to say awkward, but I just didn't really like how it looked. Could have looked better, but that was definitely, I can stand here and say that is the most flowy, professional I have ever presented my posing. Because my issues with previous times being on stage is that with the nerves and everything going on, like my posing is just fast and rush and you can just tell it's not as controlled because of just all the emotions going on, and I just don't present my posing as I do, you know, when I'm practicing during prep. But I will just mention now, I did not do my poses the way I wanted to. So although the like flow of my routine I was very happy with, I did not hit some of my poses the way that I was practicing. So that was a bummer to take away from it. Now next, going over the call outs. The numbers were being called and then I noticed that my number was passed and first call outs was done. I was like, wow, I didn't even make it into first call outs. Once that feeling settled in, I cannot even describe in words how bad I started shaking. My whole entire body, my face. I wish I saw what I looked like because even my smile just felt like, like it was the craziest feeling ever. I have never felt my body shake so bad like in my whole life. And with that being said, I immediately wanted to start crying because I'm like, what is wrong with my body? I thought I was done with these stage shakies and now I am shaking. I said that my first show was the worst I've ever shaken before, and now this is like blowing that experience out of the water. I am shaking so bad. And oh my gosh, did it hurt holding my pose during first call outs. Oh my gosh, that just really put the emphasis of how important it is to just prioritize practice holding your poses, because ouch, that did not feel too good. And then I get into second call outs. I'm lined up. I feel like I was not even looked at. I was not even moved. I just stayed there. Of course, did like the front to back, whatever. I didn't even feel like I was looked at. So then that just added another cherry on top to the emotions I was already feeling. I get off stage and, you know, I've always kind of had to cry, felt like crying when I get off stage, just for the emotions of, that's like kind of the official, like, I completed this prep, I just got off stage, you know, I finally did it, wow, I just did that. So I go to my fam, you know, I'm trying not to cry because everyone's saying they're so proud of me and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But with how things went, we knew I wasn't getting a top placing to where from here on out, like, show day wasn't that significant. So everyone was like, we're hungry. And we were just all like, let's go feast. Let's go feast early, because my 2 shows, I waited till after finals to feast and have the fun celebration food. So we just went to go out and eat, and I actually need to tell you guys about this. So we went to this Mexican restaurant, and let me tell you, the most amazing food and the most beautiful customer service I have ever received. I am not kidding. I felt like I was getting treatment like I was a celebrity. Like, the service was just so attentive, so kind, respectful, helpful. The show was in Irving, Texas, so it was the one that was closest to that area. I don't remember if it was still in Irving or not, but mi cocina? I don't know, it's embarrassing for me to probably even try to pronounce it, but here's the picture I took so I could show you guys. If you are close by, I could never recommend a place more to check out. Like, I seriously, I told myself after being here, I need to find an excuse to go back out to Texas so I can go here again. So yeah, the food was great. It was an amazing time being there. So by the time we were finished eating, it was already time to start heading back for finals. And of course, I kind of questioned, does it even matter? Is it even worth it for me to step back on stage again, just to walk across, do my little pose? We settled with, yeah, just to pay my dues, to show respect, that I care and all that. So I went back just to go on stage, hit my front pose, and get off. And after that, I was hanging backstage with some girls, just chatting it up, and just kind of waiting around to see if there was going to be judges' feedback. And then I realized it's happening when there's a huge line that just instantly formed. So I waited in line for a very long time, of course, because judges' feedback. And while I was waiting in line, there was 2 girls next to me, and there was another judge that was talking to them and giving them feedback. So I was like, oh, hi, is there any way I could get feedback too? Like, I would appreciate that so much. And she looked at the notes for me, and I can't remember the girl's name, but I am so extremely thankful for her because it was detailed feedback that I feel like judges don't usually tell competitors that I think we really need to hear. So I am so extremely thankful for her, and I will never forget that. So I want to say for the feedback, she first said that I needed more glute density, and then she said that I should pull my bikini bottoms up higher. And I think she clarified that it was for my back pose, which I would have probably never realized that that's what I needed to do, because I have them, of course, above my hip bones, and in the front pose I thought it looked solid, but I never was the biggest fan of how my glutes looked like they were shaped with my bikini in the back pose, but I never, you know, I didn't know why, so I just kind of dealt with it or whatever, because I thought if I pulled them up higher, it would kind of mess with my front pose, but I doubt it will. We need all the benefits for the back pose, so that was amazing feedback to get, and I'm definitely taking note of that. And then it was also recommended that I look into the V-shape cut for the front of the bikini bottoms to give the illusion of a smaller waist. Now I will say at first I was a tiny bit shocked because I do feel that my waist looks pretty small when I'm in prep conditions, but there's nothing like some helpful tips that can make the silhouette and illusion even more enhanced. Taking major note of that. So that was my feedback from her. So extremely thankful for that, just have to say again. And then it comes to Sandy. I don't know if she specified glute density. She just said I needed more muscle size or just muscle density overall. Now, although I did come to the show feeling very flat and I still looked depleted, honestly, I did. It did kind of hurt a little bit to hear that because she was also the main judge at my last national show, and she was like, you have beautiful shape, and was just super complimentary on just like my silhouette and the shape of my physique. And she even reached her hands out, touching my shoulders, saying that I have the muscular development, I just need to be a tad bit tighter. So I came in tighter, but my body did not like that. And you know, although I really did feel like a true bodybuilder because I had those lines that I always like kind of felt like I struggled getting. The muscle pop wise, it was just not there. So I know it wasn't, but you know, to go from I have the muscular development to I need more muscle, it was just that realization of, dang, like I'm very far from getting my pro card. Like it's not as near as I thought it was. So that was the end of the competition experience. Now I want to say this was after we had eaten dinner. We got back to the hotel. I was very emotional. I just, for some reason, didn't remember to put up my camera to record it because I definitely would have. I did for my last show experience because I was also emotional, and I showed that rawness of just me crying and just showing the emotions because I'm all for sharing that kind of stuff, but I just didn't for this one. So to go into detail of that, now first I do want to say that this kind of cuts off the show day of what wasn't shown, and this more goes into the reflection part now, you know, because this is me reflecting off of the show day experience. Now before I go into detail, I'm going to share just a little bit of background information just to kind of give an explanation to what was kind of behind my emotions a little bit. So my first show, I had done my first bulk. My first show was my experience of my first time ever doing a growing phase. So yeah, I didn't really have much muscle to work with that I brought to the stage. I could definitely say that I had the least amount of muscle out of all the girls I was on stage with. I did not do True Novice. My dad just convinced me I didn't need to do it, so I just did novice and open. I won first in both of my classes. And I went to the show with no expectations. Okay, for a little background check, I did not grow up doing sports. I was never committed to a sport, nor have I ever been a performer with the experience of standing up in front of an audience. And I will add, I was that person where school presentations gave me so much anxiety, like heart pounding out of the chest when I had to talk in front of my class. So competing is completely like new to me. I have no experience whatsoever that ties me into competing. Like, it is just something just all new to me experiencing. So with me getting first place in my classes, it made me realize, like, wow, I actually have potential in this sport. And not just that, but oh wow, I don't even have that much muscle. But seeing me on that stage made me realize how my silhouette looks, you know, in comparison to other people on stage with me. And it made me realize that I feel my silhouette and my overall shape is what helped me, you know, win my classes. So that instantly put in my head, wow, I could do really good at this sport, and my shape could like really help me do good. So I go into nationals thinking, first of all, I put on a lot of muscle for my second bulk phase. I made a great amount of growth, but I've always come across competing with the most humble approach possible, honestly. So I told myself, you know, I may not have the muscle still, I may be a little short in comparison to what's going to be on stage with me, but from my first show experience, I thought, but my shape can help me do better. It can help bump me up some placings. And although I did get into first call-outs at my first show, I got 8th place at my national show. Looking at the girls I was on stage with in first call-outs, I realized it was muscle. The roles were switched, that instead of my first show me thinking my shape can help me win over muscle, on a national stage, no, it's more so muscle over shape. Like, you need the muscle density if you want to, you know, have a decent high placing. So then realizing that, I was just like, dang. But with me getting first call-outs and getting that feedback that I had the muscle maturity or the muscle density, I just needed to be tighter, then it was kind of like, it gave me that hope, like, oh my gosh. And on that stage, I did look like I had like the muscle maturity with the girls I was with. I just wasn't as conditioned looking. So it gave me that hope that if I get leaner, I can have that look and have a good chance at getting my pro card. And yeah, the shows were decent months in between. So I went back into a little mini building phase rather than holding my prep conditioning. And then I did a prep all over again when it was time for this next national show. But with the tension that was set of like, I could get my pro card, like I was just given that hope that I could, then I felt that I had to approach this show with a whole different mentality. Like, I need to stop being like, oh, just for fun, oh, let's just see what happens, no expectations. Like, I need to realize that this is serious and that I need to be laser focused on this goal, because I could make something crazy happen, you know, for my age, for the little experience I've had with weight training. You know, I felt like it'd be a really big deal if I got my pro card. So I gave myself expectations that I wanted to get top 5. I didn't, you know, expect to get my pro card, but I was hoping for top 5 to re-nationally qualify me for next year. And something to share that I never have shared before is that in 2019, I built the passion and desire to want to be a business owner. It wasn't until, I want to say 2021, when I actually started putting in action and really like seriously working towards it. But I got so many samples and I did so much work, and I didn't like the samples, and just nothing was like working out really like how I was wanting it to. And after so much time working on it, and my dad would help me a lot with it as well, he's kind of like my business partner with this. We just came to realize that just as of right now, it's not time. My dad told me that he thought me competing and doing good would really helped me with having a great starting basis or platform to start a business, because you know, competing comes with exposure and opportunities and all that stuff. So he thought, you do really good, like this could help kickstart your business, like this would be the best way to start it. That business got pushed to the side and we just left it there. I came up with another idea, and I feel in my heart that, you know, that didn't work out because this is what's meant to be started, and you know, this is the one. And just with the stage I stand in my life right now and just how things are, I was really hoping that, you know, I could get my pro card possibly, or get a really good placing to help give me that platform to start my business, because although it's all about trusting in God's plan and letting things happen in His timing, I am eager to get my future going as a young adult and, you know, get my career started. So yeah, I have all this in the back of my head that's kind of giving me that like hope, that extra hope and like pressure to that expectation for me to do good, because you know, I felt if I did good at this show, it would help me with so many things in my life. And with me getting second call-outs at this national show, I got 16th place. I think experiencing that high, getting first place in both of my classes at my first show, it's just like, wow, I was on cloud 9, the best experience ever. And you know, that show day experience is what helps, I feel like is what helps really feed into you loving competing, because it makes it all worth it when you have that great show day experience. So it's like, it started from up here, then I got 7th place, you know, going from 1st to 7th, it's like, oh wow, that's a good few numbers down. And then going to 16th, you know, like I said, I have no experience with sports or anything of that sort, so I have never dealt with working towards something and getting a placing for it. So I came to learn that I don't do good with low placings. I know that you can't let a number placing affect you, because that doesn't take away from how you look. It comes down to who shows up that day and how your physique looks on that day. But no matter how prepared you are mentally, these things can just still happen. So you just have to learn how to conquer the issue and how to heal yourself from it, because yeah, it hurt me really bad. So a lot of explanation, sorry. So yeah, after show, I am super emotional. My dad, you know, being coach dad, he's all like, oh yeah, I know the plan, I know what we gotta do. It's the leg days. We gotta dial in on those leg days, because you know, my feedback and looking at first call outs, the main thing you notice is that the girls way more muscular development and density in their lower body, like especially quads, way bigger lower body development than myself. And you know that prep, you know, those last few weeks of working out is just the worst thing ever. You're so depleted, you're so tired. So working out becomes a chore at that point. So especially like right before show, dealing with those depleted days. Leg days were the worst workouts of my life. Like, leg days take the placing of the worst workouts I've ever experienced. So, you know, my dad's like, I know what we gotta do. We gotta pack on some size on that lower body. And I start crying. That was my breaking point. It's like, I'm so sorry, but I do not want to hear that right now. Like, please, I do not want to talk about that right now. Like, the last thing I want to think about is those leg days. Like, I need some healing from that, man. Like, leg days are just, they're so tough on me. And to hear that I have to have even more intense leg days, if not even harder, because I have to work so hard to grow my lower body. And of course, at this point, I'm emotional. So you know, they're like, you know, what's wrong? Why are you so upset? And it took me a good few minutes to, like, stop crying, to be able to actually talk and share how I was feeling. And, you know, this prep was really hard on my body. I have never been so lean. I brought a leaner package to this stage, and you know, it hurt my body. It hurt my body. I have never felt so exhausted and depleted in my life. Like, I felt like I was putting myself in a good place mentally. I was fighting to see that positive out of the negatives of what I was feeling inside. But despite being like on point mentally, just with how that prep was affecting my body, it just, I was still hurting. And you know, my last few weeks of prep I was ready for show day. Like, I wasn't even excited really for show day. I was more so like, I'm ready for this to be done over with. Like, I'm tired of feeling this way. This was definitely the hardest prep I had ever done. So, telling my family that was at the hotel, you know, how I was feeling, I was just saying that that prep was so extremely hard, and to have worked so hard and have placed so low, and to have to know like how badly this affected me, I was just like, I don't know if I ever want to go through that again. Like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And it kind of makes me want to cry saying that, because no crying, no crying. You know, because talking about it's just even making me think back of like that day, and I felt so deep down depressed. Because, you know, all of us competitors, we have our reasons of why we prep, and you know, the main picture is because the mental and physical growth that comes out of it, and it's just the best feeling knowing that you can do something that is so extremely hard, and to show that you're technically capable of anything if you can do a bodybuilding prep. But my main reason is I started competing as of my way of committing to something in my life to glorify God through and connect with Him through it. And I would say mid to end part of my first prep was the first time I experienced feeling the Holy Spirit in my soul, like throughout my whole body, deep in my heart. I felt the Holy Spirit, and it is absolutely indescribable. All I can say is it is the best feeling in this world, and it is something that every human being should experience. And yeah, competing grew my relationship with God like no other. I have never been so close with Him, and where I stand today with my relationship with Jesus, I know was all because of competing. So that's how I perceive competing, is my way of honoring all the sacrifices that Jesus made for us, and me sacrificing to honor for what He did for us. So I'm standing here and I'm saying I don't know if I want to do this anymore, but like competing like gave me purpose, and it made me think, like it made me experience the most life-changing thing I could ever feel in my life. Like how could this be happening, and now I don't know if I want to do this anymore, because having that experience made bodybuilding so important to me. And you know, honestly, I felt lost. I felt like I lost my spark and my passion for bodybuilding. And you know, I was just thinking, if that placing affected me so poorly, can I compete? You know, because if you're gonna compete, you gotta be tough. You need to be okay with getting those placings, because like I said, you can't predict how you're gonna look on that day, who shows up, and what placing you end up with, but that you don't let that placing define you. But I sure was letting it define me, and I was being so hard on myself. But yeah, even with the shaking, I was like, that was something that really was making me question if I'm really like meant to keep competing, because is my body ever gonna get used to this? Or is my body just constantly gonna freak out and be all anxious for the second I step on that stage, you know? But yeah, my main flaw with my posing was my front pose. A few weeks coming up into the show, my dad and I decided to change my front pose a little bit, and I don't know if it was probably just a lack in posing. I could have posed a lot more to have helped myself dial it down more to where I was more likely to showcase it on stage like how I wanted to. But I know that my dad, even after show day, when we were talking about it, you know, he said that he thought that if I did that front pose the way that we were practicing and how we changed it, he thinks it would have bumped me up a few placings. And hearing that even was just like, wow, like I'm so disappointed in myself. What's wrong with me? Why did I mess up? So the past few months post show, I felt so depressed. Like how I said I was feeling, you know, literally after show, that stuck with me for months. I felt, oh, I'm gonna cry again. No crying. It's crazy because I feel healed, but you know, talking about it again and bringing it back up, like I honestly want to say I've never felt so down in my life. Like I felt lost. Even when I got back home, because I traveled to visit my family in Oklahoma after the show, and I still worked out a little bit and everything, and I had fun. I did even track, and I was eating and whatnot. Once I come back here, I'm back into tracking, and you know, going back to my normal routine at the gym working out, I didn't feel like doing anything. The gym still felt like a chore. Like how like depleted and down you feel coming up to show when you're just so exhausted and depleted. I still felt like that. Literally would want to cry during my workout because I'd get to the gym and be like, oh my gosh, I have to do this whole entire workout and push myself this hard. Now, I will say, of course, the gym did still help me in some sort of way. I would feel a little bit of accomplishment for finishing my workout, but it really wouldn't do much. Once I'm back home and settled, I just still feel depressed. I felt like I lost my spark for not just competing, but the health and fitness lifestyle, because I didn't feel like doing anything, you know, regarding my lifestyle. And I didn't have any poor experiences with food after my first show. I did after my first national show though, and the same thing came back into issue after this show. I struggled with enjoying freedom again, because I am a huge sweet tooth. If I'm doing anything post-show, I'm enjoying my sweet treats again. And if I had anything that was related to a sweet treat, I would only allow myself a few bites, restricting my body, not even let myself reach that full satisfaction of enjoying what I can have again, because I'd feel guilty of eating it. Felt bad eating takeout. And if you are a common watcher, you know that my camera battery on this camera dies on me constantly. So not too sure where I left off last. I felt lost. Like, what am I gonna do now then? If I don't want to do this anymore, do I really not want to do this anymore? Everything that this is my lifestyle. If I don't feel like doing my lifestyle anymore, what am I doing? But what's crazy is, even though I felt this way, talking to my loved ones about it, they were like, dude, you haven't had a break since your show. Like, maybe you need a break from the gym. Just take a break. You're burnt out. I was like, no. Despite me feeling like I do not want to go to the gym, me going to the gym, not being excited for my workouts anymore, I still feel like it's a chore. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go through this whole entire workout. I still wanted to go. Why do you not want to break from the gym? Because I have muscle to build. It's like, what is this? What is going on? So going through this healing process that took forever, this was for a good chunk of months, and just as of, you know, the ending of last month, of like around March, is when I finally started feeling like myself again, and I feel a little more excitement with going to the gym again. You know, I realized that, yeah, this is my lifestyle. Like, honestly, even a poor show day experience, like, the worst thing could happen and nothing could pull me away from this. Like, this is forever, baby. I'm always gonna be doing this stuff, no matter how hard life gets. With how much I love building muscle, I'm obviously, it's silly of me to let one poor show day experience make me never want to compete again. I definitely am gonna give it another try at least, and let's say it's a horrible experience again, then that'll be the start of a basis of like really questioning if I want to compete again, you know. But I'm not gonna let one show day, you know, mess this all up, because, you know, remembering the good things, I do still feel that I have potential for the sport. I have just come to realize that I need a serious amount of more muscle on my body. You know, I have full trust in God's plan. I know that I went to my show, you know, knowing God can make miracles, you know, He can make crazy things happen, you know. It goes to show that I'm not ready. I still need to mature more, I need to grow more as a person, and I need to earn it. And, you know, it wasn't a surprise to me with not getting that good of a placing at this show, because everything in my life, everything I have done in my life, I have always had to work above and beyond for it. I've never been handed out anything easily. I've always had to put in so much hard work and efforts. But that's kind of what messed with my approach with competing, is like, I've worked so hard for everything I've earned in my life. I've always had to work hard, and there's times I would do all of this and that and I'd still not even be rewarded for it or get anything out of it. But maybe competing is the one thing that I can actually be rewarded for without having to do all these above and beyond efforts. But, you know, bodybuilding's a sport. Like, I started from nothing. I had no muscle whatsoever on my body. I looked like my arms and legs were stick and bones. And you know, that's the beauty of bodybuilding, is your physique is 100,000,000% earned. You have to put in the work to put on muscle. It doesn't just come like that, you know. And despite me wishing deep down that this was something that, you know, could come a little easier for me, it's nothing new that this is something that I have to work hard for. It's just, it's clearly, it's in my blood. Like, I love doing hard things, you know, hence me wanting to have my own business, and me changing that into being my future career, what I have become so passionate about. Like, in my life, I have just always chosen hard things to do. It's just what I do. So yeah, like I said, I am pretty healed from the post-show experience. The one thing I can mention though that I was dealing with, and I'm still kind of dealing with now, is having positive self-image of how I feel about looking at myself. And it's not in terms of my prep physique. I've never held any attachment to that look because I know how unrealistic it is, and I am a bodybuilder at heart. I know bodybuilders can love the prep. You know, some people may like prepping more and they love those shreds. I love building muscle and being strong. But from my show experience, I have had issues with now looking at myself and feeling so small. Like, all I see when I look at myself is I need so much more muscle. So it's pulling, so I have been having trouble with being pulled away from what I've achieved to more so of I still have so much more ways to, I still have such a ways to go. I still have so much more muscle I need to put on if I want to consider stepping on the stage again. And yeah, you know, it's been a few months post-show. I've been in my growing phase for a while now, and I look at myself and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I feel like I don't see any progress with muscle growth, and I have so much I need to put on. And that's the thing, is I've always loved growing, but my show experience made me grow this pettiness towards my growing phases now of like, oh my gosh, I am putting in all this hard work every single day, and you're telling me like I'm not even able to see any progress myself? Like, I'm doing all this hard work for what? Like, why is it so hard to put on muscle? I hate that I'm thinking that way, because I strongly stand as a natural competitor, and I want to be an inspiration for any girls out there, or any dudes if I got dudes watching. I want to be a stand for advertising natural competing. I want to inspire people to honor being a natural competitor. And you know, that's just the reality, especially for us girls. It is hard to put on muscle. You need so much patience for that as a girl, because it just takes more time. But anyways, with that being said, that's about it for the reflection. So much to say, my goodness. So what's my plan? I have had this plan since just shortly after show. I will be stepping on stage again in 2025. I have no plan whatsoever of what the date's gonna be, what time of the year. I just know that I'm taking this whole entire year of 2024 to grow, to just build muscle mass. Because my two previous bulks I did, because this is my third one I'm in now, my two previous ones were 7 to 8 months. And yep, I'm giving myself those few extra bonus months this whole entire year to just focus on growing. And yeah, so I'm gonna just be, you know, building muscle mass and working on getting business stuff started. I want to work on being more consistent on here with you guys, and that's what I got going on for me. So yeah, that is all to this post-show reflection video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my future videos. Bye!